Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I would like to show you how you can implement your own Redis client using C++. It will be an object-oriented programming tutorial. I will try to implement some basics of Redis client that we can run in terminal. I am using GitHub code spaces. I will create a blank template. You can code along with me if you like to. This will not be a very deep implementation, more like some basic functions. I hope you enjoy it. First, let's start by getting my GitHub code spaces working. So if I want to try using the server, it is not installed in my code space. So I will just say sudo update, which will update some basics. Sudo update all Redis and yes. Installed further version. Yes. So I can just start. Sure. This is working. I will split my terminal. I will pull this line in the other side. Let's try hi and hi. As you can see, our Redis server and client now working on the terminal. If you don't have it in your terminal, you can just sudo update and sudo install. And now we will have the server part intact for now. And we will try to implement our own client, which has some basic commands that you can use. Let's say help. We see the version. We can get help about this command types. We use quit to exit. Exit to exit. I can also use exit to exit or quit, which is nice. We will add that. We will have add a help command. I wonder which commands come from the server and which are built in. So if I close the server and I say echo hi again, not connect to the servers, but if I say help, it shows the help. Okay, so we will have a built-in help command, but for external commands, we will send them to the server and we will get server response and display that accordingly. You can just Google Redis client comments. You can do some research, but I will not be talking about this too much. Other than that, I will show how we can implement our own simple client. Okay, let's close these terminals for now. And talk about what we'll be doing. So don't need this. Just delete them. And we'll have a new terminal. And let's start by having a main. Yes, let's get C and C++ extensions. We will need them. Okay, so let's talk about what we will be doing. First, we will need to comment in parsing. We will need to parse the arguments that we see from terminal in the client side. we need to tokenize and make them ready to send our server. We will have some optional arguments also when we call the client. For example, we will have H for host information, and we will have P for port. That's some basics as default. The host is 127.0.0.1, and the port is 679. We will check if we have arguments after our client. If we have host or port, we will go accordingly. If no args, we will launch interactive mode. We will have object oriented as we are using CPP, let's use it accordingly. So we will have some classes. I made them list earlier. So we will have Redis client. We will have a command handler. We will have a response parser, and we will have a client. This client will handle network connections. We will use sockets for that. And we will have a command handler for parsing the inputs and building response formatting. We will have response parser that will parse the responses from the server. And as I said, we have client CLI that will manage interactive reply loop and handle user input and output. We will establish TCP connection to Redis, which will be inside Redis client. We will use REPL sockets to open a TCP connection. We will be supporting IPv4 and IPv6, which will be using get address info function. We will have some implements like connect the server, send command, and disconnect. I will not write everything. We might make a more detailed list later, showing what we will do. Parsing and command formatting, which will be in our command handler. It will split user input. It will tokenize and handle. We will have some simple words like echo, set. We will have some quoted strings. And we will convert comments into response format, which I will just show what it looks like. Let's copy and paste. So we will have this is the format for responses we need to use. We will have we will handle Redis responses. Which will be in response parser. It will wait server responses, as the name suggests, and parses types, which there will be a couple types. For example, we will have OK, we will have error, we will have some integer responses, or same like we will have some formatted responses too. Yeah, we will have a bulk string and error responses too, depending. At 6, we will implement interactive reply, which we will be doing in the client. And we will run the loop, which will be checking for user input when it is commands, check for that. We will send commands to the server, and then we will of course display parsed response, and it will support help as built-in and quit, of course. And almost ending. We will have, of course, main.cpp file, which will be parsing command line arguments, and it will be instantiate client and launch in line mode. There will be no extra commands in main. It will be just for calling other classes. And in the future, of course, we can have more improvements. But basically, we will use socket programming. We will do some protocol handling. We will have some object-oriented programming principles, and we will develop our clients. This is the outline, the structure of what we will be doing. And we will have a couple of classes. We will use some sockets to open TCP connection that will support IP v4 and IPv6. We will have some formatting to do. We will check for responses from the server, and everything should work perfectly with each other. And this is the basics. Let's start programming. I don't want to have super long videos, so we're in the main.c++. I will just show how we can start implementing the main and give a break for this video and record the rest as other parts. So first, I will include stream. Of course, we will have main function, which will be having int argc char star argv, and so we will have a string host, which will be 127.0.0.1 as default. We will have a default port, which will be 679, and we will have an I for a while loop. We will start by parsing and line for and E in sense of host and port that we mentioned before. If there's no extra, we will use these as default, but if there are command line arguments, we want to get them. For that, you can use like argv index of 1 or index of 2, but I will use an while loop to get all the arguments that we might be facing. So it will be string, and it will be arg, index of the argv. What's the problem? The typo. Okay, so we will have an if loop. We will check if our argument is h. If that's the case, we will check for the host, but also this means I+1 should not be less than the argc in the sense of, let's say I have host and I say 127.1. If I have h as my argument, I will check if there's an argc number existing after the h. If that's the case, we will in the if loop, we will check, we will get our argument I+1, and it will be our host. You can say I+1, or you can say ++I, depends how you like to. Yeah, I++I is the correct way to use it actually in this sense, because we will continue the loop. Else if, same with the other one, next argument is P. We will check for next one too, to see if it's existing. And if it exists, we will do the same. But this time we will use std_s3 to format the argument as integer, because port is integer. String to integer is s3. That's the problem. It just takes a minute because we are using quote spaces. And else we will just break, and we will increment I. Okay. So basically now we are checking for the input, and I had some network problems, so I just restarted the page. Now it's back to normal. So in this video, we talked about how we will implement our Redis client. We get some basic steps. We talked about the classes we will be creating, and we made our main loop the simple beginning. And this is all for the part 1, and we can start creating the classes on the next parts. Thank you for watching. See you next time.